Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Life, Love, Laughter podcast. I am your host and your girl, Nikki. Listen, I had to add that sound effect in there because I am truly, truly, truly excited for this episode. Just want to do some things real quick before we get started. As always, if you hadn't had a chance to, please make sure you're downloading the Spinwax Radio app. That just helps our Spinwax community grow. That helps them know that you're listening and that we're doing some good things here. So please make sure you're downloading the Spinwax Radio app. The Life, Love, Laughter episodes air on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that Saturday at 11 a.m. is the original episode air. It replays on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you don't get a chance to listen to an episode on Saturday, that's okay. You have Sunday to listen to it. If you don't catch it on either one of those days, unfortunately, it does not re-air. You can catch us the following week, but it'll be a brand new episode for you to sink your teeth into, to sink your ears into. I don't think that second one was an actual thing, but anywho, we making up things as we go here. So make sure you're tuning in to show some love to not only the Spinwax Radio team, but to your girl so that they know that we listening in these streets. You know what I'm saying? All right. So the reason for my joy and elatement, I don't think elatement is a word, but we just gonna make up things as we go today, is this is the 10th episode of the Life, Love, Laughter podcast. When I tell you there is no, listen, I didn't think we were gonna make it, people. Let's just be honest. I'm just gonna be real. The amount of fear and stress and anxiety that let's say tried, child, because it didn't take over, that tried to take over me in this season was major. And to think that I would get to the 10th episode is just elated. Now, obviously, I did not do it by myself. There's a bunch of people that helped me to get to this point, and I do want to thank them. But 10 episodes is a lot. Now, somebody is listening right now and saying, girl, it's just 10 episodes. Don't get excited. You ain't famous. You ain't rich. You ain't blah, blah, blah. Now, you would be right. You are absolutely right. I am none of those things. But to me, the 10th episode is way more than any of those things that I have mentioned. I don't know if you can hear the smile on my face, but I'm pretty sure after this episode, my cheeks, my jaw, everything is going to be sore because I am smiling from ear to ear. If I take a walk down memory lane and I think about trying to even put the very first episode together, trying to have the creative ability to be able to say, what am I going to talk about? What can I talk about that's going to reach somebody, that's going to make somebody laugh? And all of that is like, oh, you're afraid of what you say is going to piss somebody off because nowadays people get upset at everything. What am I going to say to piss people off? And so what I have done for the last 10 episodes is just pray before every single episode. Just pray and ask God to give me the words to be able to speak to you, to deliver whatever message He wants me to deliver, in only the way that I would. And so I am grateful to have done that for a solid 10 episodes. I hope and pray to be able to do that for many, many, many more episodes. But yeah, 10 episodes is not a lot to some, but it is a major, major, major milestone for me. I know there are many more to come, and I'm just elated and ecstatic for what is to come. I have a lot of plans, but again, that is fear, anxiety of, seeing a larger picture and then breaking the picture down into smaller pieces and then making it major. And so that's where I am now, is trying to, let me just tell y'all something. My biggest strength and my biggest weakness is my mind. I talk myself out of or into so many things. Like, how many people have that same issue? Like, you talk yourself out of so many things, so many opportunities, but you can also talk yourself into those same opportunities. Like, if I could just only talk myself into things, and when I try to talk myself out of things, I fight myself. Like, if I could just be like, nah, son, nah, we ain't going with that. Like, that ain't the move. We ain't moving that way. If I could do that, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to really push myself towards the things that, I try to talk myself out of, and see how things move for me. Because let me just tell you, it has been a crazy, awesome 10 episodes. So I want to start off with my thank yous. First, thank you to Don and Ange for giving me the opportunity to even use their platform to create Life, Love, Laughter. I mean, I think when we first spoke, I think it was just like Nikki's podcast. So I really, really appreciate both of you. Number one, for the platform to even do this. And Ange, you have the patience of Job, because I know on so many occasions that I wasn't on time, y'all. I wasn't doing the things that I was supposed to be doing when I was supposed to be doing them. But you were able to, your patience, and drive and the fear of God that you put in me really got me on my toes and got me together. So I appreciate you, see, I can't even talk, y'all. I am so excited and so like like do you ever have like so many emotions running through you that you can't get the emotion straight, the word straight? And that's where I am right now. So again, to Don and Ange, thank you both so much for everything that you have done and that you continue to do. I am just elated for the platform that you've created for all people, who knew that, radio and podcast could exist on one, but in a way that it's never been done before. And so I am just excited for the both of you and what you have in store for all of us. And so again, thank you to my girl Lonnie, vibing with Vega. Y'all, listen. She is the reason. She is the hookup. She is the connect. She is the all those things that you would fill in there. She is the person that made the suggestion. She is the person that believed in me enough to even want to do this. She's the person that vouched and was like, "Yeah, she good," even when I didn't even know, child, what if I even could, if it was even possible. But again, I operated into like, listen, I'm scared as hell, but let's just do it anyway. So Lonnie is the reason why we're even why we're even here, why we even get this opportunity. So Lonnie, I am forever grateful for you and thankful for you. If it wasn't for your vision and your vision of me, I wouldn't even be here. So thank you so much. I love you more than you know, girl. To my family and friends, I'll just start with my family. Thank you so much to my family, especially my husband and my girls. There have been so many late nights just crying, trying to figure it out. Being a zombie in the day, in the middle of the day, because I stayed up too late because I waited to the last minute to record, or even try to give myself time to record, or try to figure out what it is that I'm even supposed to do. So shout out to my girls for allowing me to just take that opportunity. Even now, they're like, "Are you recording now?" And I'm like, "Yes." "Okay, let me know when you're done." And so they have grown to respect and understand what's happening and letting me have my space when I need my space. So my girls, I am very, very thankful for you, Jordan and Jay. I love you so much. And to my husband, for always being the sounding board. Even when the COVID episode, I was like, I don't think I should talk about COVID. COVID is so controversial. And he was like, but if you talk about your experience, how is it a controversy? Like, it's your experience. Can't nobody dispute your experience with you. Somebody else may have experienced something different. That's on them. Let them talk about it. But this is your experience. And if you feel like you need to talk about it, talk about it. But talk about what you went through and what it meant for you. If somebody wants to debate that, that's their problem. And so my husband is always the sounding board. I bounce so many ideas off of him, so many things that I'm afraid of, he talks me into. So John, I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. I hope I can get you on another episode. I kind of feel like he liked the first one a little bit. He would never ever admit it, so we ain't gonna tell him. But I really do think he enjoyed being on the episode where we talked about marriage. So hopefully I can get him on again. But thank you so much. I love you so much. You have absolutely no idea how much you've helped me in this process. Again, like trying to figure out what I'm gonna say, all that stuff. he is the dude that has been by my side 1000%. So thank you, honey. To my friends, what? Listen, I have never met a crazy solid group of people. Um, to everybody that has shared, thank you so much for sharing my posts when I post them. Now, listen, I understand that I need to have a bigger, better presence on social media, but I'm still trying to figure out social media myself. I am currently trying to figure out a way to do like a pre-posting because, again, trying to remember to post when you're supposed to be on your way to a soccer game or you're supposed to, like, both of my kids are playing soccer now and it is soccer season. So it's trying to remember the snacks and the color that they're wearing. And one of my children travels. So it's like, okay, we're not going out of state, thankfully, but how many hours is it away from the house? Um, is it far enough that we need a hotel? Do we need snacks? Um, are there any places around that we can have lunch? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? And this is crazy weather right now, right? So it's like it's supposed to snow in the morning, but the snow will be clear. It'll be 75 by the night. I mean, literally the weather has just been bananas and I don't understand it. But I'm saying all of that to say it adds to the plate. So social media, unfortunately, becomes the last thing on my mind. I'm trying to get better at putting time aside to work on social media specifically. Again, if there is any way that I can schedule future postings for social media, please hit me up and let me know because that would save me so much time. Like I can just pick out a date during the week and kind of plan my post and let the post do its thing, child, because remembering to post is always a challenge for me. So some of you may see my post may be 30 minutes before it airs or an hour before it airs. And it's just because it's like, oh crap, it's about to air, but I have to get in the car. Let's do it now. I do try to post like early in the morning. I did think about posting it early in the week, but a lot of people forget. I know I forget, right? So if I post, hey, don't forget to listen to on Friday. Hey, don't forget to listen to me tomorrow. By the time tomorrow comes, girl, I don't remember what had said until probably like it's over. I'm not one of those people. I'm starting to set timers, but I'm not really good at the timer thing. So I'm gonna try to get better though, for sure. I'm gonna try to get better. So to all of my friends that send me messages on Facebook, who send me emails, texts, saying that they watched or they enjoyed the show or it made them have a conversation. Thank you, thank you, thank you all so much. It really means so much to me. Just to know that one person is watching means the world to me. You have absolutely no idea how much to just have one person listen to what I'm saying. And if it resonates with you, I am so elated for that. If it makes you chuckle, that makes me even happier. So, to all of my friends, thank you so much for the continued support. Like I said, if you're sharing, oh my gosh, you have. ah, I could cry. I'm so excited. But thank you all from the bottom of my heart. If I could hug you all, I mean, we kind of still in the pandemic, but I hug anyway. I could wear a mask or something, but if I could hug all of you, I absolutely would. To Monique from On Everyone's Lips, girl, listen, if y'all haven't checked her out or checked out their show, they air on Tuesdays, the first and third Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Please check out On Everyone's Lips. Monique, thank you for the conversations, for the messages back and forth, for the opportunity to just let me bounce things off of you as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as a Black woman. I appreciate you more than you know. You don't know me at all. You've never met me. You've only seen me on a Zoom call maybe twice. And for you to allow me to send you, DMs and send you messages and for you to actually reply and meet me on, I think we had like a chat meeting. I am more than grateful for that opportunity and for you to take the time to do that. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. To my girl, Ashley Kibido, listen, when I tell you this woman is a rock star and a creative genius. I could almost cry. Thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to, child, just create a small vision of what I had for Life, Love, Laughter, and showing you these logos that I made up myself, and for you to take that and create your own beautiful vision. Ah, okay, I'm gonna have to pause this so I can cry. 1 second. Okay, we together now. Ashley, I just love you so much. Your creativity, your mind, your everything. I I have no words for how amazing you are and for how much I appreciate our friendship. So thank you, girl, from the bottom of my heart. No one has seen the logo yet. Actually, there's a few people that have seen the logo. We are working on some things first, and then we'll get the logo out and it'll be in the world. But thank you so much, Ashley. So just know when you see the new Life, Love, Laughter logo, that is all Ashley's work. She is a creative genius, and I am just, to be able to call you my friend, girl, I can't even believe it. I'm honored to be your friend. So thank you. Child, I still didn't get myself together. Let me wipe these tears. I did not expect that. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. We professionals. Let's get back into the okay, let's let's get back into this. Let me just be a professional. To DJ Cabzone, thank you so much for not even knowing me and allowing me to just bounce things off of you, and just for creating the flyer. The flyer that you guys see every single week is from DJ Cabzone. So thank you so much. And again, that was Alani Connect. So thank you again for, like I said, not even knowing me, but taking the opportunity to create the flyer for Life, Love, Laughter. I am forever grateful for you. And to everyone that has been listening, even continuously, even if you only caught one episode, thank you so much for listening. I am so appreciative of you for even taking the opportunity to give your girl a shot, to give your girl a chance. So thank you very much. And I have someone else that would like to say thank you to you all.
Thank you for listening to my mommy podcast.
Thank you, Jaya. She was dying to do that, by the way. Like, she has been hovering where I'm recording, so I'm in a room. So she's been hovering the room like a shark, just waiting to say something. So happy she was able to get that out of her off of her chest with a mouthful of chocolate, no less. But again, we are all appreciative here, so thank you so much. What this episode means to me so much. I think I've touched on it already, but it meant stepping out on faith. I don't have any background in podcasts. I did do like YouTube videos for a while, but this is completely different. Like, I didn't have microphones. It's different. There's a lot of similarities, yes, but the difference is palpable. So even being able to step out on faith and just say, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna be afraid, but I'm gonna work within that fear, has been absolutely huge for me. Growth. Oh my gosh. The amount that I feel like I have grown is insane. I am a huge procrastinator, and mainly because when I work with very little time, my brain thinks much more clearly than it does if I'm given a length amount of time. Now, child, I don't know what that's called, and I don't know what it is, but I do know that is the way that my brain works. So if you give me a week to do something, my brain is like foggy. I cannot decide on anything. I cannot make a decision. But if you give me 2 hours to work on something, I have all the decisions made. And I understand that the decisions are not always right, but I feel right about the decisions that I'm making in a short amount of time within a long period of time. And I think part of that is just doubting myself and being unsure. But through this process, I've really, developed a schedule for myself, and been able to take some time, do a little bit of time management. So all of that is growth, right? Time management in the podcast will lead to time management in my professional life, will lead to time management with my children, with my family, which overall will ultimately lead to time management for myself, child. Self-care, time management for me, myself, and I is more than anything that I could imagine and ask for. And I'm so excited for that. So yeah, growth. Vulnerability. Oh my gosh. So I was afraid at first. I think I mentioned already that, I would bounce some topics about around with my husband and be afraid to share them. But it's just being vulnerable. Again, I look at it as I'm sharing my story. So I take out the controversy aspect. Someone said to me, like, you are opening up yourself to being judged. And I after they said it, I was like, that's true, but that never crossed my mind. Just sharing these stories, especially when I spoke about, letting my children, curse. That one, I brought up some conversation with people, which I'm happy that it did. But again, it was controversial, right? Because especially in my culture, we don't let our kids say bad words at all. So it was very controversial from what I understand and I hear, but I just don't, I guess it just doesn't make it to me. But yeah, that subject was a hot topic. Consistency, just being consistent every single week with giving you guys content that I think you're going to relate to, that I think will make you chuckle, that I think will bring you a little bit of joy, a little bit of laughter, was something that I struggled with. How do you try to top yourself every week? And I finally just stopped trying to do that and just started, speaking from my heart. Like I said, I pray before each episode and just pray that I'm giving you all, delivering the message that I'm supposed to be delivering. So yeah, constantly learning. This is a learning playground. Like, this is the mecca of learning about sound, learning about the different instruments to use. I learned that my laptop was from the 1920s, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. Not from the 1920s, but my laptop was pretty old and it was not compatible with anything, but just having to, shift and use my cell phone for some episodes. If there was video for these recordings, y'all would not even believe some of the ways that I am recording or how I have to record it. Again, I still am not perfect. I still don't have the perfect sound. I still have not mastered what I want to master. But again, it is a constant work in progress. And y'all, this is an epic episode for me, like, because it's episode 10, but it's still just the beginning. So I am truly excited for the future and where things are going. Patience. I have learned to be patient, not only with myself, but with more people. So I think learning to be patient with yourself gives you a better understanding for what others go through. And I think being more patient with myself has allowed me to be more patient, not only with my children, but with my husband and the people around me. Because again, like I said, I'm giving myself a whole lot of grace and like, okay, be patient. You're not an expert. Even though I expect myself to be an expert by now, that's just not even possible. There's people that do this for years and years and years, and they practice their craft and they're very good at it. And so expecting myself to be, a genius 10 episodes in is just crazy, y'all. But again, I do set great expectations for myself, and I have a constant mind to just learn and be patient. And that is where I am. Just be patient with myself and break things down into bite-sized pieces. That's the biggest thing that I've learned from myself, is that I just want to take like an elephant-sized bite, right? And I think, what's the saying? How do you eat an elephant? It's like one bite at a time. And me, I'm like, how do I get this whole elephant in my mouth? Like, I can't fit it. It's too big. It's too large. And in this process, I've learned, girl, you can't lift that elephant and you can't eat that elephant all at once. But if you start nibbling at his toes, or if you start nibbling at the tusk, or if you start nibbling at those ears, eventually you can get through the elephant. And I think the reason to me why the elephant analogy resonates so much is because that thing is massive. An elephant is massive. Like, how many tons is an elephant? Like, I know people normally talk about elephants in tons, but tons don't really like hit home for me, like pounds do. So an elephant is about, it's like 6,000 to 13,000 pounds. Like, that is huge. Like, trying to eat an elephant, you're going to be eating for years at a time. So that's why the elephant analogy, it works for me. It's like a continuous cycle. Continue to learn, continue to be patient, continue to take bite-sized pieces at a time and just chug away at this thing. And so, yeah, patience is, that's, I'm so grateful that I'm learning to be patient with myself. And that's another thing, gratefulness. I am so grateful for the amount of people. It is true that when you are, like, God always puts the people in your life at the right time. Like, a lot of these people that I mentioned that have helped me on the podcast, they're not like friends that I've had since high school. They're not friends that I had since middle school. These are not people that I've known for years. These are people that I've met, some through connection. So I met Lonnie through a vision board party that we had with our girl Natasha. What up, Natasha? So I met Lonnie through that, and that was in 2020, maybe, the vision board. No, because 2020 the world was shut down, child. I think maybe the vision board party was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just like God puts the right people in your life at the right time. So I just so happened to be at that vision board party, to meet Lonnie, to get to know her and make these connections. And you know how, like, sometimes you can meet people, like, okay, let me say for me, sometimes I always meet people, or sometimes I don't even meet them. I see people and I think, I'm going to know that person. I'm going to have a connection with that person. Or I think I want a connection with that person, or I can see myself vibing with that person or meeting that person. And I don't know what it is or know how it is, but I can just always see someone and think, yeah, I need to know them, or I want to know them. And so Lonnie just had a very good vibe. We are not the opposite, but she's very introverted. To me, from our meetings, she seems very introverted, and I'm extroverted. So I really just appreciate her patience and her, like I said, her eye and her vision, because again, that connection is the reason why I'm able to, talk to you all today, and I'm very grateful to even be able to do it. So gratefulness, and then stepping into things that you don't want to. So I'm like a loner. Usually I don't go to events or go to things. I just stay at home. So, learning not to say yes to everything, but saying yes to the things that I'm supposed to say yes to is very huge for me, right? So I used to have the FOMO spirit. Like, I don't want to miss out on anything, so I'm going to say yes to everything. And then I would end up overwhelmed and overbooked and disappointing a lot of people. And so now, me going to something, I'm really like, ooh, I can't make that. I have something that day, or no, I'm just not going to be able to make it. Why? Because I'm just not going to be able to. I don't want to. But just being able to just stand in my truth and be like, yeah, I would love to, but I can't because my schedule doesn't permit it. And then trying to make things happen is what I am so excited about, and I'm grateful for. Also, what I have learned in this process is failing does not equal failure. There's oh my gosh, there's so many episodes where I felt like I was failing. Like I felt like this is where I was supposed to be, but I couldn't hack it. Like I wasn't meeting the mark. This is where I'm supposed to be, but I can't get it together enough to get it done. And so just learning that, yeah, it's okay to fail. Like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to make mistakes a couple times, right? Because that's the best way you're going to learn. Hopefully you're not like me and you don't say, oh, I made this mistake. Let me make this mistake again. And I say that when I talk about procrastinating. It's like I constantly, for me, it's a little bit different because when I procrastinate, I'm really on the ball and I can get some things done really quickly. So hopefully you don't have that spirit in you, and that, you know, once you fail, you're like, oh, I know what I did wrong. Let me learn from it. Let me grow. Let me do something different. And so I do that. But when it comes to procrastinating, it's like, I don't know, y'all. If y'all have some advice for me, like, I am getting better, but I just want to shake it, like get it off. It does create a lot of stress, but it also produces great work. And that is stressful. You have no idea how stressful it is. So this whole entire, oh my gosh, this whole entire experience has just been a joy. It's been a great journey. And I have enjoyed it so much. And I hope I can continue to, you know, come on your airways. This is just the beginning on Spin Wax. Who knows what the future holds, but I am elated and excited all at once. So to commemorate this 10th episode, I am a lover of games. I love playing games, like board games. I'm like super competitive. So I love anything to get me into the spirit of games. So for this next, I guess, portion of the episode, I would maybe say grab a pen and a paper, or if you have your phone with you, grab like a notes section where you can just write down, because I'm going to ask a series of questions. And then you are going to answer them with either A, B, or C, because I'm going to give you options. At first, y'all, I wasn't going to give y'all options. I'm like, you should just listen to the episodes. But then I was like, some of them, you know, even if you did listen, you can't remember what happened back in February, child, because I can't even either, if I'm honest. So grab something to write down or to take notes with. So I'm going to give you some options. And then with those options, you're going to tell me whether the answer is A, B, or C. And then the right answer, like if you get the right answer, I'm going to give you a prize. And so y'all listen, let me tell y'all, I had so many thoughts in my head about a prize. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, will people be willing to give me their address so I can mail them a prize? And I'm like, girl, this is not the Stone Ages. There's so many ways you can electronically send people gift cards nowadays. You don't have to get nobody's address, and nobody has to have your address. So I have decided to send a $50 gift card to the winner. So I'm gonna say the first person that sends me a, what is, child, we don't want to say DM, because I feel like DMs are shady, but who sends me a private message, let's say on Instagram, with the correct answers to all 10 of these questions, will win a $50 gift card to Amazon. Yes. Listen, this show has no budget. It's just me, but I really do feel like a gift card is just a small token of me saying thank you and me showing my appreciation. If I could give every single one of you a gift card for listening, I certainly would. But again, like I just said, Chad, this show ain't got no budget. And so I am going to ask 10 questions. The first person who can answer them correctly by sending me a private message to life, love, laughter _Nikki, that's on Instagram, will win a prize. Again, you have to answer them all correctly, and you have to send me a message on the Instagram. Again, it's life, love, laughter _Nikki. Okay, we got that? Okay, so that should have been enough time for you to either determine how you are going to write these answers down, or to grab yourself a pen and a paper. Okay, so we're just going to reminisce a little bit. So on the very first episode of this podcast, I can remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. It was like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning that I was recording, laying down on my belly on the floor in a room, and I was exhausted. But on the very first episode, I mentioned that I roomed with a stranger, and that I met on Facebook, and that stranger splatted me with holy water when we stayed in a room. And I want to say her name so bad. I want to say shout out to her, but she knows who she is, and I love her so much. But on that very first episode, I mentioned this person that I met on Facebook for the very first, that I not met on Facebook for the very first time, but I met in person for the very first time. We met through Facebook. We went to a event in Charlotte, North Carolina. We roomed together in a hotel. She splattered holy water on me. What is that person's name? Is it A, Marissa, B, Mama Leah, or C, Leanne? Again, let me repeat the question and the choices. The very first episode, I mentioned I roomed with this stranger I met on Facebook. That stranger splattered holy water on me. What is the stranger's name? A, Marissa, B, Mama Leah, or C, Leanne? That was such a great experience. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I can't wait to room with her again. I hope I didn't give it away when I said that, but the question number 2. So the question number 2 is about the second episode, which was the Tinder swindler, and I gave my not my review, but I talked about the Tinder swindler that I saw on Netflix, and that that episode really was fascinating to me. That show was very fascinating to me. But on the second episode, I said I would not loan how much money to my friends. Now, this question is for Chase. Chase, you listening? You hear me? The only reason why I say this is for Chase is right after that episode, I was able to FaceTime Jill. Shout out to Jill. And Chase immediately asked me for this amount of money. So on my second episode, I said I would not loan how much money to friends. Is it A, $45,000, B, $25,000, or C, $100? Again, the question, now Chase, you better not get this wrong. The question again is, on my second episode, I said I would not loan how much money to friends. A, $45,000, B, $25,000, or C, $100. That show is still mind blowing to me. I mean, that happens apparently very often, and that is just awful. I'm just grateful that I'm not single, because I could not be on these dating apps right now. God bless all of you that are single right now and on these dating apps. Question number 3. Oh my gosh. The third episode was on the Confessions episode, where I played one of my favorite songs, Confessions by our boy Usher. These are my confessions. And so on this episode, I mentioned my children play a sport that I don't understand. What sport is it? Is it A, soccer, B, track and field, or C, basketball? Again, on the confessions episode, child, there was all kinds of confessions. Y'all probably thought I was crazy about the end of that episode with all the things that I didn't know, I didn't understand. But one thing I did say about my kids is that they play a sport. And I don't really understand some things about that sport, but what sport was it? Is it A, soccer, B, track and field, or C, basketball? What is your answer? I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what everybody's answers are and see who got it right. Episode number 4 was on parenting. Yeah. So parenting, oh man, that was a hard episode to do, because again, you know, as hard as parenting is the most judged thing. I feel like the thing we're judged on the most, in my opinion, right? It's the most difficult thing to do, because you're literally trying to raise other human beings to be good citizens, to be good people. And you are judged the most on the way that you do it, right? Especially if you don't do it the way that somebody else does. And so that episode was hard, because I know I don't do things normally, like normal for a normal person, but normal in the African American community either. Like, I know I'm weird, I'm strange, and that's okay. And being okay with being different was also huge for me. Like, yeah, I know I don't do things normal, but I think I'm doing what's best for my children. Even yesterday, I took my 5-year-old to the bank to deposit money. And so just watching her, she has to earn money, and if she wants to buy stuff. So she earned $10. And so what I told her is you have to deposit 10%. So you only have to deposit $1. And so the fact that she got to the bank and wanted to deposit $7 made me tear up a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, that's some very good discipline as a 5-year-old. But she went to the bank, she gave the lady her money, she got her receipt, and she was so elated and happy to be carrying her purse in it round. And then one of the customers in the bank was like, did she deposit money? And I was like, she absolutely did. She was like, wow, that's great. And for me, it's realizing that not everybody's child, number one, has a bank account, but not every kid deposits money or even like it. So like my oldest one hates it. Like I make her deposit money, but she hates it. But she still got to do it. But my youngest one is elated. She's ecstatic to deposit money. I don't really know why, because they don't give lollipops anymore, but the act of giving someone her money and they giving her receipt, she is ecstatic about. So that parenting episode was a huge vulnerable place for me. And so I thank you all for just listening to the episode. But in that episode, I mentioned I allow my oldest child to do what? I allow her to rent an apartment, A, rent an apartment, B, skip school, or C, use profanity. Now, some of you that know me know daggone well I wouldn't do some of these options. But again, listen, if you haven't been listening or you don't know me, maybe you don't know. So I thought these were great options to put in there. So I'll read the question again. On episode 4, I talked about parenting. In that episode, I say I allow my oldest child to do what? Was it A, rent an apartment, B, skip school, or C, use profanity? Okay, on to the next episode. Hobbies, episode 5, hobbies. Oh, that was like a huge learning lesson for me on what a hobby actually is. And it was like a gut check for me. Like, girl, you got hobbies. You just didn't know that you had hobbies. And that's a good thing because you enjoyed it. So that's a good hobby. And I'm not going to talk too much on this one because I feel like if I talk too much, I'm going to give the answer away. So I'll say in episode 5, I talked about hobbies. What did I say my hobby was or is? Is it A, lotology, B, this podcast, or C, bird watching? Now, I mentioned them all. No doubt, if you listened, you know that I mentioned them all. But which one did I say was my hobby? I'll go over it again. A, lotology, B, podcasts, or C, bird watching. Which one is my hobby? Okay, episode 6. Woohoo! In episode 6, I talked about my experience with COVID. Like I mentioned before, my husband really was the reason why I did that episode because I thought about it a couple times and I doubted myself, and even doubted, the vision that I should have even done it. But he basically explained to me that it was about my experience. And again, no one can doubt that experience. So during the episode, I tried to take a different approach to actual COVID and talk about some things that I wanted to keep after this pandemic is over, which sounds odd, but there are some things that we've adopted in the world that I think have actually been good that I would like to keep after the pandemic is over. And so what is one thing that I would like to keep after the pandemic is over? Is it A, social distancing, B, staying home, or C, virtual school? Now, if you listen to the episode, one of these is absolutely not. I do not want to keep it at all or ever again. So you would know those answer, or maybe you would answer, you're answering the question, how you would answer it for yourself. But again, I'll read the question again and then the options. So episode 6 was on my COVID experience, and what is one thing I want to keep after the pandemic is over? Is it A, social distancing, B, staying home, or C, virtual school? Which one did I choose? Which one would you choose? Like, are any of these anything that you would want to keep after the pandemic is over? Is it over? Does anybody know? Like, are we still? Who says this is the official end date of the pandemic? Like, is there a committee that gets together and say, as of this date, the pandemic is over? Because if I'm honest, I haven't heard anyone getting sick with COVID anymore. Like, I haven't heard any about COVID tests. With the kids' school, they've removed masks. There hasn't been like, hey, you have tested positive for COVID, you now have to stay away from school. Like, I haven't heard any of that talk in months. So are we out of the pandemic, or are we just out of COVID? Or, child, where are we? Because y'all know I don't really listen to the news, so I don't get all of the information and all of the details. But where are we? Like, how do we know when the pandemic is pandemonium? How do we know when the pandemic is officially over and we can resume back to normal? I feel like we've kind of started resuming back to the normal way of life, like going to activities, going to shows, doing all of those things. I kind of feel like we've already kind of transitioned. But does that mean the pandemic is over, or does that mean we sick of hearing about it and not operating it? Child, somebody please tell me where we are. Because some people, are still wearing masks. There's some places that still require you to wear masks, but I don't know if we are officially out of a pandemic. I know places be crowded now. I do know that. There are tons of people everywhere. So to me, child, we are out. But again, I don't know if there has ever been an official word that we are really out, or we're just all sick of being in and are operating as if we are out. Anybody know? Y'all tell me. Hit me up on Instagram, lifelovelaughter_Nikki. When you're submitting me your answers, tell me if we out of a pandemic or not, child, because I need to know. Mainly because I just want to know, because I don't currently. Episode 7, I talk about unwritten rules, and these are rules that are supposed to happen, like things we're supposed to do, but there was never an official memo given to you. It's just rules that we're all supposed to do as people, but again, nobody has ever told us. But in that episode, what is one unwritten rule we should follow when we're at the grocery store? So I mentioned that at the grocery store, there was an unwritten rule that we should all be following. I almost gave y'all a hint that would have given y'all the answer, but I stopped myself, y'all. I am trying to be professional today, and I stopped myself. But there is one written rule that we should be following in the grocery store. And what is that rule? Is it bring your own bags? That was A. Sorry, A, bring your own bags. B, pushing a shopping cart to the side. Or C, you should not touch all the produce. Now listen. That is an unwritten rule that you should not touch all the produce. I feel like this is a trick question, but only one of them was mentioned in the podcast. I'll say that. So that one could be tricky, because somebody is looking at saying right now out loud, well, I know what you shouldn't do, but that's true. But which one? Only one did I mention in the episode 7 podcast of Unwritten Rules. I'll repeat the question and the options again. So in episode 7, what is an unwritten rule we should follow when we are in the grocery store? A, bring your own bags. B, push your shopping cart to the side. Or C, you should not touch all the produce. I don't know why that makes me laugh so hard. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to move on because I feel like I'm going to give away the answer to that one. Okay, episode 8, I talk about unnecessary rules. So sometimes we put these unnecessary rules on ourselves that keeps us from reaching our full potential, that keeps us from being all that God has for us to be. And I talk about my experience a lot. Again, a lot of my unnecessary rules came around fitness and my nutrition and things that I, I had for myself. Like what I said I was not going to do, what I was not going to do, like the length of time I exercised. So if you missed that episode, I hope you can get this answer right. But I talked about how I had this mindset: if I wasn't going to the gym and I wasn't doing 2 hours in the gym, then I wasn't going hard enough and I wasn't doing enough. And that was just wrong. That was just a rule that I had for myself that kept me from being great. And I also talked about how I went from, exercising just 10 minutes. So once I shook that mindset and I just started out at 10 minutes, a few days a week, that grew to 20 minutes a few days a week, to, working out every single day, to now working out 5 days a week, with some rest and some self-care for myself, has truly transformed my mindset on working out, all that it means to me. Like, I'm not working out to eat what I want. I am working out truly for my mental health and my physical health, and I feel so much better because of it. But what is the name? I also before I read the question, there was one question on the food. So I said there was a particular seasoning that I used that I did not want to get rid of because I thought I would be betraying my people if I didn't use this seasoning on my food. And so that was a rule that I had for myself. It was unnecessary. I was like, I have to season my food with this particular season or the food won't be good. And that's just a lie. So what is the name of the seasoning I had to season my food with, or I felt terrible? Is it A, adobo, B, Creole seasoning, or C, Lawry's? Again, the question is the episode 8, unnecessary rules. What is the name of the seasoning I had to season my food with, or I felt terrible? Was it A, adobo, B, Creole seasoning, or C, Lawry's? And episode 9. Oh my gosh. I enjoyed episode 9 so much because my husband joined me on that particular episode. He's not quiet. I almost lied, y'all. He's not quiet, but I will say he's not a social media person. None of this appeals to him. And so when I talked about marriage, I felt like it was a great idea to talk to my husband about marriage because, well, that's who I'm married to. And just to get some of his viewpoints and thoughts on marriage, I will say he started off very stiff and timid on that particular episode, and he loosened up toward the end. Now, I don't know if it's because he had a red Solo cup, or if he just felt comfortable the longer the episode went on. So it could be one of those two things. Either he just felt comfortable, or the red Solo cup was very therapeutic for him. But in the episode, my special guest was my husband. What is my husband's name? Is his name A, Charlie, B, James, or C, John? In episode 9 of the Life, Love, Laughter podcast, we talked about marriage. I'm repeating the question again. And I had a special guest who is my husband. And what is my husband's name? Is it A, Charlie, B, James, or C, John? What's his name, y'all? Y'all know my husband's name. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of this podcast too. So, were you paying attention? Were you? Oh, I should have a cutoff date for this giveaway. We'll see. Okay, and the very last question is on episode 10, which we're doing right now, the 10th episode. So if you've been listening to this podcast, I hope you have, you know that I just had a special guest join in, and just say hello to you guys. And who was the special guest? Was it A, Jordan, B, Jaya, or C, John? So y'all heard me on this episode, the 10th episode of the Life, Love, Laughter podcast. I had a special guest. Who was it? They just said hello. And they said, thank you for listening to the podcast. And was it A, Jordan, B, Jaya, or C, John? Okay, so that is all my questions. And again, you can submit your responses. Now, this is no joke. Like, this is not a game. This is not a joke. I really am going to give someone a $50 Amazon gift card. All I will need is your email address and I will send it over to you. And that is your prize and your thanks for just listening to the podcast and getting all the answers right. So you will have to message me at lifelovelaughter_Nikki. And I'm going to give it to the first person that can answer correctly. So remember that the show airs twice. It airs on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern and then Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you miss it on Saturday, still continue to listen on Sunday. Maybe someone didn't respond or maybe no one got it all right. If you hear the questions on Saturday and you're like, oh, I think I missed something, or you got the answers wrong and you want to try it again, you have until Sunday. But I will give a gift card to the very first person, and then I will put it on social media so you know that somebody has won the actual gift card. And that I ain't playing no games, y'all. I am really, truly giving someone a $50 Amazon gift card. You can get so much on Amazon with $50. So that is my way of saying thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate you very much. So I want to read through these one more time, but I feel like I repeated them twice. So if you didn't get it the first time, hopefully you got it the second time. I'm not quite sure if I have. Okay, wait, I think I have enough time. So here we go. I'm going to read through them all again, so pay attention. Okay, the very first episode, I mentioned a room. I roomed with a stranger I met on Facebook. They splattered holy water on me. What is the name of the stranger? A, Marissa, B, Mama Leah, or C, Leanne? On episode 2, I reviewed the tender swindler. I said I would not loan how much money to friends? A, $45,000, B, $25,000, or C, $100? Episode 3, the confessions episode. My children play a sport that I don't understand. What sport is it? A, soccer, B, track and field, or C, basketball? Episode 4, parenting. I allow my oldest child to do what? Is it A, rent an apartment, B, skip school, or C, use profanity? Episode 4 was a hobbies episode. What did I say my hobby was or is? Is it A, lotology, B, podcast, or C, bird watching? Episode 6, my COVID experience. What is the one thing I want to keep after the pandemic is over? Is it A, social distancing, B, staying home, or C, virtual school? This is something I want to keep after the pandemic is over. Episode 7, unwritten rules. What is an unwritten rule we should follow when we are in the grocery store? Is it A, bring your own bags, B, pushing your shopping cart to the side, or C, you should not touch all the produce? Episode 8, unnecessary rules. What is the name of the seasoning I had to season my food with or I felt terrible? Is it A, adobo, B, Creole seasoning, or C, Lawry's? And episode 9, I talked about marriage. I had a special guest, which was my husband. And what is my husband's name? Is it A, Charlie, B, James, or C, John? And last but not least, this episode, the 10th episode of the Life, Love, Laughter podcast, we just had a special appearance from a special guest. Who was that person? Was it A, Jordan, B, Jaya, or C, John? All right, go ahead and submit your responses to me again at lifelovelaughter_Nikki on Instagram. I am so thankful for all of you for listening, for tuning in. Again, thank you. Continue to share. I appreciate all of you for sharing so far. But continue to share, spread the word to anyone who you think could just get a little chuckle. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. And until next time, do something that brings you joy, makes you laugh, and speaks to your soul. I love you all so, so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. I thank you. Until next week. Peace.